The celestial court floated silently above the red star, its giant rings glowing faintly in the dark of space. Inside, the chamber stretched endlessly, filled with alien shapes of every kind. Some had long, thin limbs. Others had smooth, glimmering skin. The sounds of soft whispers filled the air as delegates from across the galaxy prepared to witness a trial unlike any other. At the center, hovering above a polished platform, was the Judgment Sphere. It was a perfect orb of glowing crystal, ancient and powerful, said to know truth beyond any lie. Captain Laura Hayes stood alone on the platform. She wore a plain dark uniform, simple in design, with a small human insignia on her shoulder. She was tall and strong, with short brown hair and eyes that seemed calm even when the air itself hummed with tension. Her hands rested at her sides, but inside her heart beat fast. She was the representative of humanity, the last voice for her people, and the galaxy had already decided her fate before the trial began. The High Arbiter, Zareth, appeared on the grand dais above her. He was massive, with rough green skin and eyes like burning coals. His voice boomed through the chamber. "Human, you are accused of crimes against the galaxy. You are charged with violating the ban on weaponized intelligence and destroying an ancient world. How do you plead?" Laura lifted her chin. "I am not guilty. Humanity acted only in defense. We did not violate any law." A ripple of whispers spread across the chamber. The aliens did not understand human courage. Most of them had already decided she was lying. Zareth narrowed his eyes. "Your people have a long history of violence. How can we trust you now?" Laura's voice did not shake. "Because we survived the same darkness as you. We have fought for life, just as the galaxy has." The Judgment Sphere floated silently, perfectly still. It had been silent since the trial began, and the aliens had begun to lose faith in it. The sphere was supposed to speak when truth demanded it. The humans had hoped it would recognize justice, but so far it had not moved. The prosecutor, an alien named Velen, stepped forward. He had 3 eyes and a body covered with purple scales. "Captain Hayes, your people have left a trail of destruction. You killed millions and took resources that were not yours. How do you explain this?" Laura did not answer at once. She knew that the council would not accept words alone, but she had prepared for this moment for months. "I will show you evidence that my people did not attack first. We were forced to defend ourselves. We acted with restraint, even when attacked." Velen hissed and waved a claw. "Your excuses are meaningless. The footage shows your ships firing first. You are guilty. The galaxy cannot ignore this." Laura nodded slightly. She had expected this. She looked around the chamber and saw rows of delegates shaking their heads, some even sneering. The humans had always been treated as dangerous outsiders. And now, here, alone, she felt the weight of her people on her shoulders. From the corner of her eye, Laura saw Tira, a young Lauren observer. Tira had smooth, pale blue skin and eyes that reflected light like glass. She shifted nervously in her seat, glancing at Laura as if she wanted to say something but was too afraid. Laura gave her a small nod, a quiet encouragement. Velen stepped closer to the sphere and tapped a panel. Holographic images of burning cities and destroyed ships appeared above the platform. The aliens gasped and muttered among themselves. Velen's voice rose. "Do you see this, High Arbiter? Do you see the destruction caused by humans?" Laura took a deep breath. She raised her voice so it reached every corner of the chamber. "The footage has been tampered with. I have witnesses who were there, and I can prove that my people acted only after being attacked. The first strike did not come from humans." Velen laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "You expect us to believe this? Only humans lie like this." Laura's eyes did not waver. She looked straight at the sphere. "If you are truly a witness of justice, see us for what we are. See the truth." The sphere pulsed faintly, almost as if it had heard her words. Most of the council did not notice, but Laura felt a small warmth. A sign that the ancient artifact had acknowledged her voice. She could not tell if it would act, but she hoped. High Arbiter Zareth slammed his clawed hand on the podium. "Enough. The council has seen enough. Your defense is meaningless. The evidence is clear. You will be judged guilty of crimes against the galaxy. How do you respond, human? Laura took a slow step forward. I do not accept this judgment. The truth is not in your eyes alone. You have ignored what really happened. My people fought to protect life. We did not strike first. Velen snarled and turned to the chamber. See? She continues to lie. The human refuses to admit guilt. The council must act swiftly. We cannot let this species continue unchecked. A murmur rose among the delegates. Some were curious. Some were angry. But then, a faint glow began around the sphere. A soft hum filled the chamber. The light expanded slowly, reflecting off the walls and the alien bodies. Everyone turned, confused, except Laura. She felt the warmth grow stronger and stronger. Her eyes widened as the sphere started spinning slightly, symbols glowing like fire. A low, deep voice echoed through the chamber. It was not human. It was not alien. It was old, powerful, and filled with authority. Bearer of justice, it said. The words sent a chill through the room. Zareth's voice faltered. What? What is this? Who speaks? Laura stepped back slightly. Her hands trembled, but only a little. She had heard stories of the ancient protectors, beings from the first civilizations of the galaxy who had built the sphere to guard truth. Could it be real? Could it recognize her and her people? The glow from the sphere reflected on her face. Show the truth, she whispered. The sphere shone brighter. Holographic images appeared, not of destruction, but of history. Humans were shown fighting alongside the earliest galactic races, protecting worlds from tyrants and invaders. Each scene showed courage, strategy, and sacrifice. The aliens in the room gasped, whispering among themselves. They had never known this part of history. Velen's face twisted in anger. This is impossible. The artifact cannot lie. Humans are guilty. The sphere's voice boomed again. Truth cannot be hidden by fear. History remembers what is just. Zareth stumbled back. His massive hands shook. This cannot be. The humans, how could they have been? Laura stepped forward, calm but strong. The truth has been here all along. You only needed to see it. The glow of the sphere continued to fill the chamber. Even Terra, the young Lurin, stared in awe. She whispered to herself, I knew it. I knew humans were not the first attackers. Velen growled and moved toward the sphere, trying to touch it. But the light expanded, forming a protective barrier. He froze, unable to reach the artifact. Laura's chest rose and fell with relief. She did not yet understand how far this would go, but for the first time she felt hope. She had stood alone, but now the truth had a voice. The trial was far from over, but the balance had begun to shift. The council could no longer ignore the words of the ancient sphere. The whispers of the delegates grew louder, a mixture of fear and wonder. Humans had been accused of crimes, but now the artifact had spoken for them. Laura looked up at the glowing sphere. I do not know what will happen next, she said softly. But justice will not be denied. And in that moment, as the chamber filled with the hum of the ancient artifact, Laura felt the first true sense of power she had ever known, not the power of weapons or ships, but the power of truth itself. The trial had begun. But now, it was no longer a simple trial of humans. It was a trial of the galaxy itself, of its understanding of justice, and of whether it could see the value in a species it had long dismissed. The judgment sphere continued to glow. Hovering in the center of the chamber, its presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Every eye in the room was drawn to it, and slowly, fear began to replace anger in the hearts of the delegates. Laura took a deep breath and stood tall. She did not know what the future held, but she knew one thing clearly. Humanity would not be judged by lies. Humanity would be judged by truth. And the truth had just begun to speak. The chamber was quiet after the judgment sphere had spoken. Its glow still filled the room, casting long shadows across the alien delegates. Even the High Arbiter Zareth looked uneasy. He shifted in his massive seat, his green skin rippling with tension. For the first time, the council seemed uncertain. Velen, the prosecutor, hissed under his breath. "This is not over," he said. His 3 eyes burned with anger. "We have the evidence. We have the recordings. Humans are guilty." Laura stood on the platform, her posture steady. She could feel the sphere's warmth, a quiet encouragement. She knew that showing the truth in words alone would not be enough. She needed witnesses, someone to explain what had really happened. She turned to Commander Ethan Cole, who had entered the chamber quietly. Ethan was a human engineer and strategist, with a calm presence that reassured those around him. He had served with Laura on the mission that the council now condemned. He stepped forward, his voice clear. "Hi, Arbiter, council members. The footage you see is incomplete and manipulated," Ethan said. "I was present on the human fleet during the events on Kilo Row 7. We did not fire first. The attack came from the Lurans, who were allied with Velen." Velen snarled. "How convenient. Another human claims innocence. Your testimony is worthless." Laura spoke quickly. "Ethan's account can be verified. There are other witnesses who saw the attacks begin, but fear has kept them silent." At that moment, Tira, the young Luran observer, shifted nervously. She raised her pale blue hand slightly, trembling. All eyes turned toward her. The council had ignored her until now, but something about the sphere's glow made her brave. "I saw it," she said softly. Her voice was barely audible, but it carried across the chamber. "The humans did not fire first. I saw the first strike come from Velen's allies. They wanted to blame humans for their own attack." A wave of murmurs spread through the delegates. Whispers of shock and disbelief. Many of them had trusted the evidence without question, but now a young observer contradicted everything. Zareth banged his clawed hand on the podium. "Silence. You cannot speak out of turn, Lurin. The evidence is clear. Humans are guilty." Tara's voice grew stronger. "I speak the truth. You will see it if you look closely. I tried to warn you before, but no one listened." The chamber fell silent again, this time in a tense, waiting hush. The judgment sphere pulsed slightly brighter. Its glow seemed to respond to the truth in Tira's words. Laura stepped closer to Tira and gave her a small nod. "Thank you. Your honesty matters. You are helping more than you know." Velen moved forward aggressively. "This is manipulation. You are all being fooled by human lies. The sphere cannot make humans innocent." Laura held her gaze on Velen. "It does not need to. Truth does not lie. You can try to hide it, but it will always come out." Ethan cleared his throat and continued. "The recordings Velen presents have been altered. I can prove it. The timestamps, the ship coordinates, the weapon logs, they show signs of tampering. The attacks recorded as coming from humans were not possible with our positions." The council members leaned forward, some squinting at the holograms. A few of the younger delegates exchanged uncertain glances. The older ones hissed and muttered, unwilling to admit they might have been wrong. Velen's claws clenched. "This is treachery. You will all be punished for believing these lies." Before he could act, the sphere pulsed again, brighter this time. A soft hum filled the chamber, vibrating in every seat. The images on the holograms flickered, then corrected themselves. The truth appeared clearly Velen's. Ships firing first, humans reacting only in defense. A collective gasp filled the room. Many aliens could not believe their eyes. Some muttered to each other, disbelief in their voices. The elders who had guided the council for centuries looked around shocked. Zareth's massive frame trembled. This is impossible," he said. His voice wavered for the first time. "The evidence shows. Humans did not start the attack." Laura nodded slightly. "Yes, we acted in defense. Our fleet did not strike first. We tried to avoid conflict, but we had no choice." "You can see the truth now," Tira whispered. "I always knew humans were not guilty. But I was afraid to speak." Laura's eyes softened. "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite it." "Thank you for speaking." The chamber was silent for a moment. Even Velen seemed unsure. His 3 eyes darted between the holograms and the glowing sphere. He realized the evidence could no longer be ignored. Ethan stepped forward, holding a small device. This device contains raw logs from our ships. They cannot be altered. You can check every movement, every weapon discharge. The truth is here. Some delegates leaned forward to inspect the device. Zareth hesitated, then motioned for his aides to examine it. As they did, the sphere glowed brighter, a reassuring light that seemed to protect the device from tampering. Velen hissed, but he could do nothing. The chamber had shifted. The first cracks in the council's certainty were forming. Laura spoke again. The humans are not guilty. We acted as protectors, as defenders of life. The ancient artifacts have always recorded justice. If you look at them, you will see the truth, the council murmured. Some delegates whispered among themselves. Some looked ashamed. The younger aliens, who had often questioned the elders, began nodding. The chamber was no longer united in anger. Doubt had taken its place. Velen took a step back, realizing he had lost control. This cannot stand, he muttered. You are all blind. The humans, the sphere pulsed again, louder and brighter. Its hum filled every corner of the chamber. Velen froze as a low voice echoed. It was not human, not lurin, not any voice the delegates had heard before. Truth cannot be hidden by fear. Justice shall prevail. The words sent a shiver through the room. Laura's heart lifted. She could feel the sphere responding to the truth they had revealed. It recognized her words, her courage, and the evidence brought forward by Ethan and Tara. Zareth's massive form shook. The sphere. It speaks again? Yes, Laura said, her voice calm and firm. It speaks for truth, for justice. Some delegates began to rise, bowing slightly in respect. Others stayed seated, fearful and unsure. The chamber was no longer a place of certainty. Now it was a place of revelation. Velen hissed one last time and retreated to his seat, his pride wounded. He knew the trial was no longer in his hands. The sphere had shifted the balance. Humanity had a voice again. The truth was on their side. Laura looked at Tara and Ethan. This is just the beginning, she said. We have made them see a fraction of the truth. The council will not give up easily, but they cannot ignore what they now know. Ethan nodded. The evidence is strong. The artifact protects it. We have a chance. Tara smiled faintly. I am glad I spoke. Maybe this is how change begins. The judgment sphere pulsed once more, softly, as if acknowledging her courage. Its glow filled the chamber like sunlight breaking through clouds. Every eye turned toward it, every voice hushed in awe. Laura felt a surge of hope. She had come to the celestial court expecting condemnation. Instead, she found an ally in the most unexpected place, the ancient artifact that had observed the galaxy for eons. The chamber would not forget this day. The council would not ignore it, and humanity, once dismissed as reckless and dangerous, had begun to prove its worth. Laura took a deep breath. The trial was far from over. There would be more challenges, more attempts to hide the truth, but for now, humanity had a voice, and the voice of truth, guided by the ancient artifact, had begun to speak. The celestial court was no longer a place of simple judgment. It was a place where history itself had returned to remind the galaxy of the value of justice. And in that quiet moment, Laura felt the weight of her responsibility in the hope that she could carry humanity through it. The glow of the sphere dimmed slightly, but its presence was undeniable. It was a silent promise that justice would continue to guide those willing to seek the truth. And for Laura, Ethan, and Tara, the fight for recognition and fairness had only just begun. The trial was no longer just about guilt or innocence. It was about the recognition of humanity. It's about whether the galaxy could see the courage and honor in a species long dismissed. And for the first time, Laura felt that the answer might not be as impossible as it had seemed. The chamber of the celestial court was quiet, but the silence felt heavy. The alien delegates looked at one another nervously. Even the High Arbiter Zareth, who usually appeared unshakable, shifted in his massive seat. The glowing judgment sphere hovered in the center, pulsing gently, almost as if it had a heartbeat. Its light seemed to reach into every corner, touching the walls, the ceiling, and even the hearts of those in the room. Laura stood tall on the platform, her brown eyes fixed on the glowing sphere. She felt a strange warmth, a calm strength flowing through her. This was not just a trial anymore. It was the moment when the truth of humanity would finally speak for itself. The voice of the sphere echoed across the chamber. "Bearer of justice," it said again, this time louder and firmer. The words shook the walls. "The guilty cannot hide. The innocent shall be revealed." Zareth banged his hand on the podium, his voice trembling. "Explain yourself. What do you mean? How can a human be a bearer of justice?" Laura spoke softly, but her voice carried through the chamber. "I do not know all the answers, but we fought to defend life. We did not strike first, and now the artifact has spoken in our favor." The sphere pulsed brighter. Suddenly, it projected images into the air. The chamber filled with shimmering light, and every alien present could see the scenes. These were not the destruction images Velen had shown before. These were images of history long forgotten. The first scene showed humans standing alongside beings from the earliest civilizations of the galaxy. They fought side by side to save worlds under threat from tyrants. Ships fired to defend colonies, humans giving aid, humans helping evacuate civilians. The scenes were detailed and vivid, showing courage, sacrifice, and strategy. Some of the older delegates whispered in disbelief. "Impossible," one said. "Humans were never part of these battles," the sphere continued. "History remembers what is just. Humans were once chosen to protect life, to carry the oath of balance. Their deeds have been erased, but truth cannot be hidden forever." Tira's eyes widened as she watched. I knew humans were not evil," she whispered. "I just never thought the Council would see it." Ethan stepped forward. "These records are correct. Humanity's ancestors fought to protect the weak and defend peace. Even the battles you have recorded as crimes were defensive actions." Valan's three eyes darted from the holograms to the sphere. His claws clenched. "This is manipulation. The humans are using the artifact to hide their guilt. It is not possible. We are the judges here." The sphere pulsed again, sending a wave of light across the room. The hologram shifted, showing Valan's own actions. His secret attacks, his orders to manipulate evidence, and his plans to blame humans for what he had caused appeared clearly. The delegates gasped. Some turned pale. Some whispered to each other in shock. Velen froze, realizing the truth could no longer be denied. His carefully built lies were exposed for everyone to see. Laura felt a mixture of relief and determination. "Hi, Arbiter," she said, her voice calm. "You must see now. We did not attack first. The humans acted only in defense. The artifact itself confirms it." Zareth's massive hands shook as he looked at the sphere, and then at Laura. This is beyond anything I have ever seen. Could it be true? Have we misjudged humanity for centuries?" The younger delegates nodded silently. Many of them had questioned the Council's strict rules for years, but no one had dared speak out. Now, the evidence was undeniable. The sphere's voice spoke again, more clearly this time. "The deceivers will be revealed. The innocent shall stand." Valen's face twisted in anger. "This is unacceptable. The humans cannot be trusted. They are dangerous." The sphere pulsed, and its light surrounded him. Valen's claws froze in midair. He could no longer move, no longer interfere. The light was not harmful, but it was commanding, almost alive. Laura looked at him calmly. "Your lies have been revealed, Velen. You cannot hide the truth anymore. You cannot control what history now shows." Velen's three eyes widened in fear. For the first time, he felt powerless. He had spent decades manipulating records and plotting to make humans appear guilty. Now the artifact, older than any council, older than any record, had spoken for justice. The chamber remained silent. Every alien delegate watched in awe as the sphere projected one final vision. It showed humanity not as reckless aggressors, but as defenders, protectors, and allies. Ships saved colonies, humans healed the wounded, and leaders negotiated peace where others would have fought for domination. Tira whispered again. I cannot believe it. I knew they were brave, but this is incredible. Ethan placed a hand on Laura's shoulder. The truth is finally coming out. The artifact cannot lie. Humanity is being honored, not condemned. Zareth took a deep breath, the weight of centuries of judgment pressing on him. If the artifact confirms this, then the humans have been wronged. I have never doubted the council before, but now. Laura stepped forward. You do not need to doubt. You only need to see. The truth is clear. We acted with honor and courage. Our people did what was right. The sphere's glow began to dim slightly, but its presence remained powerful. Its voice spoke one last time in the chamber, echoing softly yet firmly. Justice has been revealed. The innocent shall stand. The guilty shall be exposed. Villan growled in frustration. No, this cannot be. The younger delegates whispered among themselves, some standing slowly. Others nodded in quiet agreement. The chamber was changing. Doubt and fear had replaced certainty and anger. The council's image of humanity as dangerous outsiders was crumbling before their eyes. Laura felt a quiet strength. She had come to the celestial court expecting condemnation, but she had found a witness to truth. The sphere had spoken for humanity. For the first time, the voices of the innocent had been heard above the whispers of the powerful. Tira stepped forward, her small hands shaking slightly. I am glad I spoke, she said softly. The truth. It matters. Laura smiled faintly. Courage is not about being unafraid. It is about standing up when fear surrounds you. Thank you for your honesty, Ethan nodded. The chamber will not forget this day. The council must now reckon with what has been revealed. The light from the sphere filled the entire room, reflecting on the walls, the floors, and the faces of all who watched. It was a quiet, steady glow, a reminder that justice could not be silenced. That truth always had a voice. Velen realized he had lost. His plans, his lies, his attempts to manipulate the council all were gone. Humanity had been vindicated, and the artifact had spoken for them. Laura took a deep breath. This is not the end, she said quietly. There will be more challenges, but the truth will guide us. Humanity will not be judged unfairly again. Zareth looked at her, humbled for the first time. Perhaps we have been blind for too long. The artifact. It has shown us the way. The chamber remained silent, filled only with the soft hum of the ancient artifact. Its glow was steady, almost comforting. A symbol of justice that could not be ignored. Laura looked at the sphere and whispered, Thank you. You have given humanity a voice. The sphere pulsed once gently, as if acknowledging her words. And in that moment, the celestial court was no longer a place of certain condemnation. It was a place where truth had returned, where justice had been recognized. And where humanity's honor had been restored, the trial would continue. But now it was clear that humanity would not be defeated by lies. The evidence, the courage of witnesses, and the voice of the ancient artifact had combined to shift the balance. Laura, Ethan, and Tira stood together, ready for whatever came next. The chamber, once filled with whispers of accusation, now resonated with awe. The council had seen the power of truth, the courage of humans, and the authority of the ancient sphere. And for the first time, humanity was not alone. The ancient artifact had spoken. Humanity had a chance. And the galaxy would never forget that truth, no matter how long it tried to deny it. The chamber of the celestial court was quiet, but the tension in the air was thick. The alien delegates stared at the glowing judgment sphere, their eyes wide with shock and fear. Even the High Arbiter Zareth, who had always seemed powerful and untouchable, looked small in the presence of the artifact. Velen, the prosecutor, was frozen, his claws raised, unable to move. The sphere's light surrounded him like a cage of energy, and his three eyes darted in panic. He had spent decades plotting to frame humanity, and now the artifact revealed all of his lies. There was no escape. Laura Hayes stepped forward, calm but resolute. She had stood on this platform for days, faced accusations, and endured the whispers of the entire galaxy. And now, for the first time, she felt the full weight of justice on her side. The sphere's voice echoed in the chamber. The deceivers shall face the consequences of their actions. The innocent shall be free. The bearer of justice shall be recognized. The words sent a ripple through the council. Delegates murmured to each other, some nodding, others trembling. For centuries, they had judged humans as reckless, violent, and dangerous. And now, the artifact itself had declared the opposite. Humanity was innocent, and the guilty were exposed. Zareth finally spoke, his deep voice shaking. Human, Captain Hayes, the artifact. It has shown the truth. You and your people, you were wronged. We have misjudged you. Laura's brown eyes met his. The truth cannot be erased. You see it now. Humanity has acted with honor and courage. He fought to protect life, not destroy it. Tira, the young Luran observer, stepped forward. The humans did not lie, she said quietly. I saw it myself. They acted to defend, to save lives. I am glad the artifact has spoken for them. The sphere glowed brighter, pulsing with energy. It descended slowly toward Laura, hovering just above the platform. Symbols of light swirled around it, forming intricate patterns that seemed to speak of a long-forgotten power. Laura stepped closer, unsure but unafraid. The artifact's glow touched her face, warming her, filling her with a sense of purpose. What does this mean? She whispered. The sphere's voice was soft, almost gentle, yet it carried authority. You, Laura Hayes, are the bearer of justice. Mark of the ancient protectors has chosen you. Shall carry the oath of balance. Humanity shall be recognized, and the guilty shall face the judgment they deserve. Laura felt a tingling sensation in her palm. She looked down and saw a small, glowing symbol forming on her hand, a circle with a line through it. The mark pulsed with energy as if alive. It was a symbol she had never seen before, yet it felt familiar, as though it had been waiting for her all her life. Ethan stepped beside her, awe on his face. Laura, the artifact, it has chosen you. You carry the responsibility of humanity's honor. Laura nodded slowly. I understand. This is not just about me. It is about every human, every life we have protected, and every truth that has been hidden. The chamber was silent, all eyes on the glowing sphere and Laura. The council delegates had never felt so small, so powerless as they did now. Velen's face twisted in rage and fear. He realized that the lies he had built his career on were gone. The artifact would not let him escape judgment. The sphere's light expanded, surrounding Velen and his accomplices. A soft hum vibrated through the chamber, and the air seemed to thicken with energy. The voice spoke again. The guilty cannot hide. The deceivers shall face the truth of their actions. Humanity shall not be condemned for the sins of the unworthy. Velen screamed, thrashing against the invisible force, but it was useless. The light did not harm him, but it held him firmly in place. One by one, his allies were exposed, their secret schemes revealed in holographic images above the platform. Every lie, every manipulation, every hidden attack was displayed clearly for all to see. The council members gasped. Some turned pale, unable to believe what they saw. Others whispered to each other, realizing that they had been blind, led by fear and pride. Humanity, once dismissed as reckless, had been shown as defenders of life and justice. Laura took a deep breath. She looked at the sphere, feeling its energy flow into her. This is justice, she said softly. Not just for me, not just for humans, but for all who have suffered under lies and deceit. Let the guilty face what they have created. The sphere pulsed once, brighter than before, and then released a wave of energy that seemed to sweep across the chamber. Velen and his accomplices vanished in a flash of white light, gone from the chamber forever. There was no anger, no only finality. The artifact had judged, and its judgment was absolute. The delegates stared in silence. The power of the ancient artifact and the courage of humanity had changed everything. The council had been broken, not by force or weapons, but by truth and justice. Zareth bowed his massive head. Captain Hayes, humanity. We owe you more than apology. We were blind. We judged without seeing. We acted without understanding. The artifact. It has spoken clearly. Your people are innocent." Laura's lips curved in a small, tired smile. "We never wanted vengeance. We only wanted peace. Let this be a new beginning, not just for humans, but for the galaxy." The younger delegates approached slowly, offering small bows of respect. Some whispered words of apology, others simply nodded. Even those who had once doubted humanity now seemed to recognize its courage and honor. Tira stepped beside Laura and whispered, "I am glad I spoke. The truth mattered, and now it has changed everything." Laura placed a hand gently on Tara's shoulder. "Courage matters. Speaking the truth matters. You helped humanity, and you helped the galaxy. Remember what justice is." The judgment sphere began to rise slowly, its glow softening but still bright. It hovered above Laura and pulsed with energy that seemed to resonate in her very soul. Its voice spoke one final time, calm but full of authority. "Bearer of justice, humanity shall be recognized. Your place in the stars has been restored. The past shall remember what is right. Go forward and carry the oath of balance." Laura nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. She looked at Ethan and Tara. "We have a role to play now, not just to defend our people, but to help others remember truth and justice. This is only the beginning." Ethan smiled faintly. "And let's make sure we do it right." Tara's eyes glowed with determination. "I will help. The galaxy needs to see that truth matters." Laura turned back to the council. "Let this be a lesson. Justice cannot be hidden. Lies will not last forever. Humanity will not be judged unfairly again." The delegates remained silent, their faces a mix of awe, fear, and respect. For centuries, humans had been outsiders, dismissed as reckless and dangerous. Now, through courage, truth, and the judgment of an ancient artifact, humanity had reclaimed its place. The celestial court had witnessed the rise of a new understanding. The council, once proud and inflexible, had been humbled. The sphere had spoken, the guilty had been removed, the innocent had been honored. Laura felt a quiet strength inside her. She had faced the accusations, endured the whispers of the galaxy, and stood alone against powerful forces. And now she carried the mark of the ancient protectors, a symbol of justice, courage, and honor. She looked at the glowing shard that remained in her hand, a fragment of the artifact's power. It pulsed softly, a reminder that she was chosen to carry the oath of balance. Humanity had been recognized, and the galaxy had been reminded that truth and courage could not be silenced. The trial was over, but a new chapter had begun. Humanity's place among the stars was no longer in doubt. The council had seen the power of truth, the courage of a human, and the authority of an ancient artifact that would never allow injustice to prevail. Laura, Ethan, and Tira stepped down from the platform together. They had survived the trial, restored honor to humanity, and witnessed the power of justice in its purest form. The chamber remained quiet, but the energy of change lingered in the air. Laura whispered to herself, "The galaxy will remember this. Humanity will continue to protect, to defend, and to act with honor. We will never forget what justice truly means." As she walked toward the exit, she glanced back at the glowing shard. It pulsed gently, a reminder that the ancient protectors were still watching, still guiding. And for the first time, Laura felt hope not just for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. The council had been broken. The guilty had been punished, and humanity had been recognized. The artifact had spoken. The bearer of justice had been revealed. And the stars, once indifferent to humanity, now shone with a new light, one that reflected truth, courage, and honor. The galaxy had changed forever. Humanity through one. Captain's courage and the power of an ancient artifact had shown that even against the greatest odds, truth and justice would always prevail.